Hello there. This is the Lucy Roots and Strategic Guide podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have a special subject. Everybody needs to know, and not just know about the subject, but not just listen about the subject, but pay attention and participate because it's very important. The subject for today is called Discover Your Inner Strengths. And not just about this, let me introduce our guest. Today with us from Hawaii, Tasha Church, and her very interesting workshop. Let's let her talk for herself. Hello, Tasha.
Aloha, hi.
Hi, how
Happy
are
to
you?
be here.
Yes, we're happy having you here. How is weather in Hawaii?
Uh, I hate to say that it's cold because it's really not as cold as everywhere else in the world. But it's 60, so you see all of these Hawaiian people with huge hoodies and bringing out their UGG boots for the first time and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little chilly, but it's still sunny, so I can't really complain.
Okay, I bet it will be surprising for all our listeners to hear that because when we hear Hawaii, we just imagine sound and fun.
Yeah. It's still
Okay,
fun and fun.
it still is. Okay, glad to hear that. Okay, Tasha, please tell us about your program and your initiative and your story.
Thank you. So I run a business. It's called Ellie Live Action. That's ELLELIVEACTION. And it was a very purposeful name. I actually put it together with one of my girlfriends who does public speaking all around the world. She's a really awesome lady. Um, but Ellie, it means female in most other languages besides besides English. I said that wrong. So I wanted to use that, and then I wanted an action, so live, and then action. So it means women living in action. And I started this business in Hawaii because I really wanted to help elevate women till to their next level. And so for me, it was a very personal reason why I started my business. I started a women's empowerment business because when I was really young, and I was, let's see, 16, I had a stalker, and that person stalked me for 2 years. It was a very scary experience for me, and I finally confronted this person, which is really hard to do, especially since this person was a lot older than I was. And it was a verbal confrontation, and I said to stay away from me, and I was very clear. And I realized after that moment I was not prepared at all if that had been a physical confrontation. Um, it was a very scary time for me, and so both of my parents, they had done martial arts, and they were pretty badass. They were pretty amazing. I really appreciate them and how strong my mother is, and how amazing my dad is with all of the stuff that they do. So they encouraged me to go into uh, a dojo, and there happened to be a dojo that was offering 6 months of free martial arts, which never happens anymore. And so I started, and I stayed. I stayed there for 7 years, and I studied 7 styles of Japanese martial arts. And it was a really amazing experience for me. 3 years into that experience, though, I was out salsa dancing. I love salsa dancing. I don't know who else out there enjoys a night out on the town, but that was definitely me back in the day. And I was walking to my car. It was really late at night. It was very sketchy coming from the salsa. Um, it was the salsa dancing. spot, and I was thinking, my gosh, over half the moves that I'm learning right now, I could not do in 3-inch heels and a dress. This just would not happen at all. And so I decided I really needed to do something about that, and I this awesome self-defense partner. He was my self-defense partner from the first week I started martial arts. He and I both started the same week, and he's been my friend ever since. Which, despite maybe how I look, it's been a very long time. So it's 17 years. But he actually took the time to attack me while wearing 3-inch heels and a dress, and we went through all of the different moves, and I picked out moves that I thought would be effective for women. So I thought it was really important for me to be able to teach those moves, because that's what would affect me, and that would affect my community. So after being at the dojo, I left the dojo. I went and taught independently, and after a while, it was me working with realtors for realtor safety, working at schools. I started a program, founded a business called Ladies First, and it was an in-school and after-school empowerment program for middle school and high school girls. And it was focused on self-esteem, body image, and self-defense training. And it was a great program, and I reached over 2,000 girls, and it was a wonderful feeling for me. Behind the scenes, though, I was having a really difficult time. I had just launched a children's book. It was a multicultural children's book, and a week before that event, I actually I had to deal with an attempted sexual assault by another stalker. So this was also very scary, because I had never met this person before, never seen this person. But from reports and from police talking to neighbors, this person was outside of my house for at least a month watching me. So that was a really scary event, and I was having a very difficult time, and it was hard for me to preach to my girls empowerment and being strong when I was having such a really hard time on a personal level. But what I realized from that experience is just how much women actually need self-defense, because I actually have a self-defense background. I've studied for years. On top of the Japanese martial arts, I studied Tai Chi and boxing, and Jeff Alexander, who taught Rocky Balboa, he had this warrior spirit training that was absolutely amazing, like hands down. I was in awe. It was like the best experience ever. And so I I ended up taking all of these styles and continually morphing my self-defense so that it would help women. So for me, having my martial arts background, I was able to stay calm in the situation that I was in. I was able to assess the situation and look and say, this guy's over 200 pounds. He's over 6 foot. Maybe he has a martial arts background that I don't know about. And I was able to talk my way out of this situation and run, which was still a very scary experience. But I know that with my martial arts background, I was able to think a lot more clearly. So I knew that I needed to continue on with what I was doing, and it was important work for me. It was also important for me to heal and go through all of the processes that I needed to do so that I could be the best instructor and be the best women's empowerment coach that I could be. Because if I was coming into it, and I'm sure that you understand this, if you're coming into it and you're not doing the work yourself, then you're no good to your audience. It's just not going to work. So for me, I've gone through everything from extensive therapy. I've worked on my own personal self-esteem and looked at what it meant for me, all of these different events that have happened, and purpose, and the why. And that was really important, the why of what I'm doing. So I had an opportunity to move to Maui, and I took it. It was for love. I have a long-term partner. He and I have been together for 5.5 years. And he asked me a year and a half in if I would move to Maui. So not necessarily something you want to turn down. I was thinking about it because I had my program, my girls and everything. And one of my girlfriends who was in politics, she looked at me and she goes, yeah, I had a guy once ask me if I wanted to go to Japan with them. And I never did, and I always wondered what it would have been like. And so I made this huge leap, which was scary, crazy, sort of at times, what am I doing? Oh my God. And I moved here with no connections, and except for one person who I had met on a cruise ship 5 years before. So it was really exciting, also very scary, but it was another opportunity for me to elevate myself and learn what I needed to know. And then I launched my LA live action business. So it was a long journey, but I'm happy that I got to this point. And since then, I've been able to launch my online self-defense course. So I've been doing my business since 2016 here. Launched my online self-defense course recently, just in the fall. And it's been an opportunity for me to reach women globally, which is very exciting. I've also looked at different programs that I can do to help women, such as every 100 courses that I sell, I actually donate a workshop or a course to a women's shelter, or I'm working on connecting with women who are on reservations or Native American women who have different programs for Native women. It's something that I'm very passionate about because I want to be able to donate back to them. So that's the long and the short of it. Did I cover everything you wanted me to?
That's very impressive change story, and that all our listeners have more questions that will be sent them later. I want to ask you this: what do you consider will be the change point or change factor when you decide that you are going to learn martial arts and will be able to defend yourself in any circumstances? And what was the change point when you decided to share this knowledge with other women?
Well, so for me, I think that a lot of women can relate to this. I grew up, and I always wanted to people please. I wanted to be that person. I never wanted to hurt anyone's feelings. And martial arts, learning it helped me boost my confidence, up my self-esteem, but it also helped me with boundaries. And I think that that's something that's very hard for women to do. So for me, on a personal level, as I was learning self-defense, I was able to set better boundaries with the people around me, which I thought was really important. When it comes to, let me make sure that I'm getting this right. When it comes to coming around and actually teaching, for me, what that brought was also a sense of confidence, but a reassurance that I have some sort of purpose here. There is something that I'm meant to do, and in the bigger picture, all of those different events that felt like at the time they were tearing me down were really getting me stronger and getting me to a point where I was able to help women on a much deeper level. And so for me, I think that was the most important aspect of my work now, is being able to reach as many women as possible so that they are trained, they have safety skills, and that they can go out there and just take on the whole world.
That's very, very good answer. Thank you. One more question. There are many women in any country, any city, who dealt with assault, physical or emotional, or dealing daily, but they're not standing up. They're not changing. They're not learning how to defend themselves. So I do believe this is the type of change that needs to be taken when you deal with something like this. What will be your advice for this woman?
So I definitely was one of those women. I did deal with assaults in my past. I dealt with very scary times when I didn't want to say anything to anyone about these events. And for me, it was really important to keep on going, listen to that inner voice, and let it guide me. I think that if you're scared, it's okay to be scared, but it's what you do with that fear that's important. You need to be able to support yourself and support the women around you. So it's a very difficult thing when a woman goes through an attack, an assault, harassment, because in a way, I know that from my experience right after, I felt very small, very insignificant, very shut down. And you don't grow that way. It's an amazing feeling to have those experiences and then also realize that those experiences, they're going to turn around and make you stronger, but you have to keep going. You have to get help and support. One of the biggest issues for me with my my assaults was that I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want to share with anyone that there was anything wrong with me. I really love my family and I love my friends, and I was worried that if I told them, then they would look at me differently, that they would think that I wasn't innocent anymore, that I wasn't perfect. And I think that women, they face this, and it's hard, and it's really scary for them. But what I would say to them is that there are so many other women out there who want to support you, who have been through the same thing. There's definitely somebody here on Maui who is out in the world cheering you on and really wants to support you in your growth and getting past that stage of your life so that you can move on and you can have an amazing life and the best life for you.
I bet it is a good empowerment speech for every woman who's dealing with situations. So basically, anybody can convert that fear, if we fight that fear, convert into something useful to help us change our life for better. That's very good, and that's a lot to think about. One more question for you, Tasha. How being able to defend ourselves physically develops or improves our inner strength or self-confidence?
Oh man, it's huge. It's so crazy. I love when women come into my class, and I've also had women who have done my online course, and I've spoken to them afterwards. And I have one lady who's, she's been married for at least 35 years, and she, sort of wallflower type. She finally was very direct with her husband, like, listen, you need to help me with these moves. Get over here. And so it's just really amazing to see the confidence boost, the change because of learning that physical. It boosted her emotional inner strength. And I've had couples come in, and I've worked with couples, and it's really amazing to see because it's not only just a boost for that person, it's a boost for their partner too. I've had men come into my class and talk to me afterwards, and they're almost crying, and they're telling me how appreciative they are because they know that their wife is going to be safe. And so I feel like the self-defense, despite the fact that it's physical learning, you're learning all of these physical skills, it's emotional healing, and it is very empowering. It's an opportunity for you to grow on more than just a physical level. And it also gives you this inner thought that, wherever you go, whatever you do, you have these skills and you have the ability to take care of yourself. And a lot of women, when they have these traumatic experiences, there's a worry there that they're not able to take care of themselves, defend themselves, but they can, and they will. And so I would say that definitely when you're learning these physical moves, you have the ability to change your life immensely on a inner emotional and spiritual level.
Wow, that's impressive. So what happens more often? People come into you, women come into you after they deal with some kind of abuse, and you help them to develop their inner strength, or there are people who just curious or just heard about it and already strong initially from the inside, and they're willing to learn how to defend themselves.
It really depends on what age bracket. You've heard of the Me Too stories and everything else. There hasn't been one woman who I have worked with who has not experienced some sort of harassment, some sort of story in their past that made them feel uncomfortable, that brought them into that room with me, that studio. And so when it comes to younger girls, I really want to reach them as early as possible just so that they can have those skills and be able to set really healthy boundaries on an early on. And that takes time, that takes energy, that takes a lot of growth that I didn't develop until later. So for me, it's been really important to reach the younger generation before these things happen, and even working with women who have dealt with these major and traumatic events. I want to be able to help guide them into a place of empowerment, so that they feel secure in who they are.
That's right. That's very good. So do you want to share more about her online course? But because I think many people will think, how is it possible to teach defense online?
Right? Yeah.
How does it work?
So I will share just a little background. So I had a woman come into one of my classes. It was a one-to-one lesson, and she had a very traumatic experience happen 20 years before that she did not get out of, and it was on a college campus in a dorm room. And she came in, and we went over all of the possible scenarios that she could do from that event. So we put her in the exact position that she was in before, and I showed her how to get out of out of those moves. And she was worried about what would happen if she was threatened with a knife. So I have a rubber knife that I put out and had her in the same position. And then after that, she goes, everybody should learn this. And she actually has online work that she does, very powerful women's work that she does online. And so she was telling me, you need to do an online course. And in my head, I was thinking the same thing that I'm sure a lot of women are thinking. How can you do an online course on self-defense? How does it happen? I mean, what do you do when you're alone? So for me, it was really a lot of thought of, okay, yeah, how do I do this when there isn't another person in the room? So I ended up taking someone and I had them attack me. It was actually a mother and son who worked with me in this course. And the son, he was attacking the mom. But originally, in the first step of the stages of this course, he's attacking me. And I do the move. So that's number one. I do a demo. Then after that, I break down the move. So what to do. Then I'm actually teaching the mom and showing what to do in those scenarios of, okay, here's what you do. And she was brand new. She had never had a class before. So it was a wonderful opportunity for women to see just how far you can come with no background whatsoever. And then after that, I have an at-home section. And this at-home section, this is where you get into different exercises. I'm telling you to do one move like 10 times and practice it in the mirror. So it might not look exactly like what it would happen if somebody comes up and grabs you, but it's the same movement that you would actually do. So I had that, and for each class, it's a different type of attack. And so I've had one that's a hair grab, one against the wall, another one against the floor, lapel grabs, choke holds, wrist grabs, bear hugs, all of that. So all of those have multiple counter moves to them, and they're broken down. They have fun names so that you'll remember them. And so I'm really excited to be able to share my course with women globally. So I'm excited to do that and have that opportunity.
This is very impressive. You are not just empowerment, but you are the great example for anybody, male and female, all around the globe, how to not just developing your strengths, but to grow emotionally from something you love to do. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
To our listeners, this is the great example how to change. Change not just physically, not just go to the gym or go jogging every morning or just do something you've heard about or seen in the movies, scary movie, now you want to learn. It's not just that. This is the way to grow emotionally and develop new skills that you will find it useful. That was Aloha from Maui, Hawaii, from Tasha Church and her amazing project. You can find links to the website in the description to this podcast. And anything else you want to add, Tasha?
For those women out there who are struggling, I would just say to never give up. Keep on going because there's something that you're meant to do in this world, something great. And if you give up, you won't be able to do it. So keep on pushing. And again, there is somebody on Maui who is rooting you on.
Thank you very much. This is Tasha Church from Hawaii. Thank you for participation. That was Strategic Change Guide podcast and listeners and Tasha Church and sunny Hawaii. Have a great day. Thank you, Tasha, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Lucy. Aloha.